Is heaven going to be boring? You probably wouldn't believe how many times as a pastor I'm asked a question that basically amounts to that. Pastor, I don't want to be bored for all eternity. And I totally get it. Because in our culture, the image we have of heaven is I'm going to be floating around forever on a white cloud, strumming a harp with a white halo and wings and a white robe. Ugh. Cannot be found in Scripture anywhere. But I kind of understand where people get their hesitancy about heaven from. It may partly stem from the passage I want to look at today. Rene here for today's daily VideoDevo. What we're doing this week is looking at parts of Mark 11, 12, and 13 that I didn't get a chance to look at in the weekend sermon. So much stuff happens on the Tuesday of Holy Week. So many different debates Jesus has with the gatekeepers of the temple, the board of directors, the elite who try to trap Jesus with tricky questions. For example, a group called the Sadducees. They did not believe in a lot of what most Jewish people and most Christians would consider the Bible. They only believed in the first 5 books. And so they didn't believe in a lot of other things. Like they said, we don't believe in the resurrection. When you die, that's it. Why? Because we can't see the resurrection taught in the first 5 books of the Bible. So they come up to Jesus with a tricky question about the resurrection. They say, let's say a woman gets married to a guy, that guy dies, his brother marries her, that guy dies, his brother marries her, that guy dies. And there's 7 brothers, they all in succession marry this widow. Well, when you get to heaven, whose wife is she going to be? And Jesus said to them, you err because you do not know Scripture and you do not know the power of God. He says this, and here's the tricky verse that I think confuses a lot of people. He says, when people rise from the dead in the resurrection, they don't marry, nor do people give them in marriage. They are like the angels in heaven. Wow, I think that's where a lot of these misconceptions come from. But Jesus did not say when we die and go to heaven, we're going to be like the angels. Whatever you think in angels, like halos and harps and wings and a white robe. The only way we're going to be like angels is that we're not going to marry. Now, some people would say that's a drag because I like being married and I love my spouse. I want to be able to see my spouse and know my spouse and love my spouse in heaven. Jesus didn't say you wouldn't be able to see and know and love your spouse in heaven. What Jesus is getting at here is that our bodily, physical resurrection, the level of pleasure and joy and peace and intimacy and sense of all is right with the world that we associate with the best marriage and the best night with our spouse. Our level of that kind of experience in heaven is going to be so high that the best experience of the best marriage would feel like a step back. But heaven is still going to be physical. Jesus many times described heaven as feasting and a place of laughter. And he gets that right out of the book of Isaiah that says in the new heavens and the new earth, there's going to be feasting. There's going to be wine. Isaiah says people are going to build houses and they're going to have vineyards. There's going to be a physical place in which we exist in our physical bodies full of color and music and laughter and feasts. I love the way N.T. Wright talks about this passage. Jesus' point is that the resurrection does not mean mere resuscitation, but it means transformation. The resurrection will not simply reproduce every aspect of our present humanity. It will be a recognizable and re-embodied human existence, but a great change will have taken place as well. It's kind of like the Apostle Paul says in 1 Corinthians 15, our current body to our resurrected body is going to be kind of like a seed to an oak tree. Same exact DNA, it's still a body, a physical body, but the capabilities are just going to be astonishingly new. Back to N.T. Wright. Believing in the resurrection doesn't just offer the best hope of all for our ultimate future. It gives to the present created world its full value, because what God has made and loves, he will remake and heal and continue to love. And that includes you.